Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we are going to review all of the branches that have been available this season and talk about what branches you should go for in the remainder of the season. Now, this season is very challenging because there are a lot of good branches to go for and some new branches as well. So basically, for the start of the season, you probably went for, or most players probably went for one of the discount branches or even both. So what makes it challenging is there's a broad spectrum of what players may or may not have done. But typically what I recommend is going for one of the discount branches right at the very start of the season and getting as far as you can during that discounted 2-week period. And this season, Telerik was the discounted sorcerer, and it actually is a very solid dragon. And of course, the base boost we have as well. And a lot of players feels like that is a mandatory branch to obtain. And I myself usually get both the discount branches at the start of the season. After that, you have to decide if you want to continue on the branch that you started with the discount period if you didn't finish it, and then go from there. Now, Telerik is a solid dragon, so having that branch done at least 2 or 3 tiers above your current breeding tier is probably a good idea, because then you'll be able to use that dragon for at least a season or two, and depending on how fast you're progressing. But Telerik is a solid dragon, especially for a discount dragon and a sorcerer. I think Telerik is a lot of fun and definitely has good potential. So definitely this season was a good one to go for. And I typically recommend investing everything into at least one of the discount branches during the discount period, because you're getting half-priced rewards. So definitely a solid choice. Now, let's say you were able to complete Telerik and you're not sure where to go next. Let's say you're not getting the base boost because you're not an endgame player that feels like it's mandatory, and other branches have great base building resources. So we're gonna break it down for dragons. If you're gonna get another dragon this season, you've got some great choices, because Zelenoth is a very solid hunter. It's not one of the best hunters we've ever seen, but it's still a pretty solid hunter. The Leos was not great for today's meta. Amaros isn't a horrible dragon either, but to me, I didn't really enjoy it. But the interesting one is Nebulon. Now, Nebulon we're going to come back to later, but Nebulon is actually a solid dragon. It's an invoker, a lot of fun to fly, and pretty decent potential. So this dragon is very good. But now it is a festive dragon, and the way they do that now is different. It is only 15,000 to finish the branch, and it's dragon shards that you collect. So if you finish this whole branch for 15,000 sigils, you can get Nebulon to obsidian tier. Beyond that, you need draconic chests to get the additional shards to continue leveling the festive dragons. Now, these chests drop shards for every single prior festive dragon since last season, that is. So you'll get Hueso shards if you haven't gotten enough to get it to max tier. And this will continue to happen throughout the seasons. But the current or most recent season's festive will drop at a higher rate, so that you'll get those shards more frequently and in higher quantities. But the great thing for this season is we were allowed to purchase the repeated chests 150 times, and that's 4 of them each time you purchase it, which means you're going to get a total of 600 draconic chests if you spend the 30-something thousand sigils on this repeatable draconic chest. And if you are able to do that, this is one of the best ways that you can prepare for next season and boost your account's progression in this game. And how you do this is you spend all your rubies on super sigil chests to get more sigils, so that you can then purchase as many of these repeatable draconic chests as possible. And if this is going to get in the way of you getting your mythic this season, then I would say, maybe don't go ahead with that. Or if it's going to ruin your plans for other things. But if you have it in your capability to spend at least 100,000 rubies on super sigil chests, to then spend those sigils on these Draconic chests, then it's very worth it, because you're going to get tons of rewards from the Draconic chests, as well as sigils that you can open for next season to help you with the discount period. And if you buy it through this method, then you're able to basically break even as far as sigils would be if you're purchasing gold chests next season, but you're going to get a lot more of the very much needed resources for base building, like timers. And you're going to get a lot of egg tokens and mythic fragments that you need for breeding. So Draconic chests are a very good investment, and the important thing to know here is I do not believe this is going to be available again next season. They tried to decrease this down to being only able to get, I think, 100 Draconic chests, but because they surprised everybody with this and people were kind of planning on, spending a lot of their resources on these Draconic chests, they ended up increasing the amount to 600, but they very clearly said this may not be the same next season and we may make changes. So I do not believe they're going to allow this many Draconic chests again. So this might not be your most valuable way to spend your resources next season. So I would take advantage of it this season if it is within your possibilities. And I'm definitely going to max them out as well outside of the video, with a lot of, super sigil chests. Now, so that's what I would say. If you wanted another dragon this season, I would go for Nebulon because it's the festive branch and you can get Draconics at the end. But also, I personally feel like it's one of the next best legendary dragons this season. Now, if you really needed a rider, we've actually got some pretty decent riders this season. Venus is a very solid rider as well. And I personally don't need Venus. It is one of the better ones that you can use for invokers. And I made a video on Venus specifically, so you can go check that out if you want to. But definitely a solid rider. And Sola is also a decent rider. Sola is a defensive rider. And Sola allows you to have the highest construction bonus in a game. And if you don't have a construction bonus reduction rider, then Sola would be one that you definitely should invest in, but you have to max the branch and able to get all the rider shards to max out all the skills. So I would say if you can get this full branch and you don't have a construction reduction time rider yet, or one, say that's less than 8% or whatever, then Sola would be one for you to grab. But if you have Atlas, then just get the generic Atlas rider. It's 12%, Sola's 14%. The difference there is not huge when you really break it down. So I personally am not getting Sola because I want to spend my sigils elsewhere. But a very great rider for players who don't have a solid construction rider yet. Now we're going to talk about, resource branches, basically. We have a new tower, the Cosmic Orrery, and I ended up maxing out this branch because I wanted to level up the Cosmic Orrery, again, this fortification event. But if you only go halfway, the cost is much cheaper. It was like a third of the cost to go halfway, and that gets you to a level 80 or 90 tower. And so I was thinking, and it's the first key. Where is that here? The first key and a third of the cost of the branch. I think it was about 5,000-ish sigils, which is not bad. And you could get it to level 80 or 90. So I recommend that if you can get this, if it works in one of your keys, you can afford it, why not get it? Cosmic Orrery is a great tower, and next season you can get the other half. You can get the half of this branch again, and that should get you enough to max it out. But a lot of players don't even have towers greater than level 90, so they don't even need more than that yet. So definitely worthwhile going to that first key. Now, the Crystal Howitzer branch has always been a branch for tons of resources, and it still is. The difference this season is, let's see if I can find one here. They put a lot of the value into a choice. So if all you want is timers, then you can still get the same ridiculous amount of timers from this branch. If you want Electrum bars, you can still get the same ridiculous amount of Electrum bars from this branch. But previously, you would get a ridiculous amount of timers and Electrum bars from the branch. Now the value overall of this branch is about 50%. So it has reduced in value a lot, but if you don't need more electrum bars, everyone needs more timers. And if you need timers very badly, you're still getting a ridiculous amount of timers. So I recommend this branch as well if it's in your capabilities. So now the question is, well, what 3 branches should I get to get a Mythic Dragon? Now that's kind of a trick question because you need more than 3 branches now because the cost increased. But I would say for those who can get both discounts, you would get Telerik and the base boost, and then ideally after that you would get the Crystal Howitzer Tower, and then the Nebulon branch, and then invest extra into the repeatable Draconic chests. Now, if you don't have enough resources to actually take advantage of the repeatable Draconic chests, then go for the Cosmic Orrery and 1 key from somewhere else. Maybe even steal Nebulon because it's a great dragon. You can get some shards that eventually you'll work your way up. But I would value those as the highest ones. But again, that changes a little bit. If you really need a defense rider, then there's Sola available. Or if you really need another offensive rider, then there's Venus available. And then it comes down to, or I guess I should also mention the mission boost branch. I always get the first one from here, and to get 100% bonus and the little rewards that come along with it, because I don't grind egg token missions that much. And then you come down to your decision of Icaros or Quasar, the mythic dragons of this season. And you can see I have 20 keys. And so I'm going to make a video specifically to break down which mythic to choose. I don't want to belabor this particular video much longer, but I do hope it was helpful to kind of get an idea of the benefits of each of the different branches. There's a lot of really great branches this season, a lot of good riders, a lot of good dragons, and then a lot of good other branches that go along with it for resources. So I hope this kind of helped you decide how to finish off your season. I know we're coming to the end of it very quickly. So get what you can. I do want to make a note too, for those who are newer, all of the sigils from this season will disappear if you do not spend them this season. So use them up while you can to get what you can. The keys, if you do not spend your keys, there is usually for the first 1 to 2 weeks of the following season a redeemable way to use those keys, but you cannot save those keys for the next season's mythic. They will be different keys, so you can't get 10 keys this season, 10 keys next season, and claim a mythic. No, the 10 keys you have from this season, you can spend on, say, platinum chests or gold chests, but then you have to claim all new keys for the next season, so you can't carry over like that. And you can't carry over sigils, but you can spend sigils on things like in the branch to get gold chests that then will help you get sigils next season. So again, I hope this was helpful. Good luck with the remainder of the season, and I will see you in the next video.